thanks for coming out. I know it's hard to get here with all of this construction going on. We opened the exhibition on Wednesday, and our very first visitors were two firefighters. Do you have the photo?
No, it's not part of
the
the-
fire alarm went off that next door, and so we have photos of them here. Some of you may have seen, we posted it on social media. Anyway, I think you'll agree that the title of this exhibition, Fire, A Lot More Fire, is very prescient with what's happening in the world today, so Ron has been spot on in bringing us an exhibition like this. The exhibition is hosted by Print London. I'm chair of Print London, Jocelyn Gardner. Print London is a collective of artists who use print making in their professional practices, and we try to encourage printmaking in the region. So that's our aim. We're trying to disseminate information about printmaking, offer exhibitions, discussions, etc. So this is part of our programming. Every summer we have an exhibition. We're more known for the Ontario Miniature Print Exhibition, TOMP, which has been held a few times. And this year we tried something different by having a guest curator, Ron Benner, who's standing with me. Ron does not need much introduction in London. He's an eminent London artist, curator, activist, and we're very thrilled to have him here with us for the exhibition. As I said, he is esteemed. He was the first manager of Forest City Gallery, for those who might not know him. Artist manager, and co-founder of the Embassy Cultural House, 1983 to 1990. That it ran. He is based in London and is an adjunct professor in visual arts at Western University. His works are in numerous public collections, the National Gallery of Canada, Art Gallery of Ontario, Museum London, and Macintosh Gallery here, and Las Casas de las Americas in Havana, Cuba as well. In 2008, Museum London published a bilingual book on Benner's garden installations called Ron Benner, Gardens of a Colonial Present. So he's very well known for his work with gardening, and in this case now he's bringing the ideas around climate change here. Anyway, I would like you, there's much more I could say about Ron, but I think we recognize that he's an important artist, and we are greatly happy that he agreed to curate this show. Thanks.
I brought a clipboard, quasi-scientist, but so thanks to Jocelyn for asking me to do this. The only time I've done silk screens with the help of Kim Moody many years ago, and then as a photographer, of course, I used to print my own photographs, but it was a real. It was actually, it was a bit daunting when you asked me, because I said, well, I don't do prints. No, but you can do that, you can curate. I said, okay, sure, why not? And so thanks, Jocelyn, and thanks to Cindy Talbot, and thanks to Laurie Jensen-Brazier.
Close enough.
Huh? Good, is that good? Okay. Who helped install. And so I just wanted to read you something that I wrote, and it's not long. And so, not so very long ago, the Bengali author Amitav Ghosh, in his book, The Great Derangement, stated that few writers and artists were addressing the issues of climate change. I hope he has now read American War by Omar Al-Akkad, who's Egyptian Canadian who's living outside of Portland. American War is a dystopian view of the United States in around 2075. And bizarrely enough, it was mentioned in, that book was mentioned in today's Globe and Mail in an article called The Reckoning by Marcia Letterman, and looking at artists who are dealing with the climate crisis. And the title for this show, Fire, A Lot More Fire, comes from a newspaper article that I read when I was about a week after Jocelyn asked me to do this exhibition. And there was a climate wildfire professor at the University of Alberta, and he said in an article on a massive forest fire in Alberta that on average we're going to have a lot more fire, and a lot more fire. And so I thought, well, that's a great title, and we'll put out a call for artists who deal with that one issue. And the great thing about the call was that all these artists, the 11 artists in the show, were already dealing with this issue. I didn't have to, I curated just by selecting certain works, but every artist honestly was dealing with the climate crisis. So again, it's like Amitav Ghosh is a little bit off, because there's many artists and writers, poets that are dealing with these issues. It's just that they aren't stars. Like, this is great. I always confine people to oblivion sometimes, but Bratinsky. So Bratinsky and the filmmaker, they get all the ink and the press, but there's tons of artists that are dealing and have been dealing with these issues for decades. And so my hat off to the artists themselves here, because they've produced honest work about a very important issue. Now, 40 years ago, I came across a book called Seeds of the Earth by Pat Roy Mooney in the local library. And in that book, he was talking about the takeover of indigenous knowledge by like chemical and petroleum corporations of seeds. And what has to be sort of put together to understand the mess that we're in right now is that the indigenous knowledge that Pat Roy Mooney was talking about was like this knowledge that had been taking place for 8,000 years, both in the Americas, Asia, Africa, indigenous farmers. And what these chemical and oil companies were doing were, they were attempting, well, not attempting, they were patenting indigenous knowledge, the seeds, and then manipulating them, modifying them genetically so that they could withstand their chemicals, their insecticides, their herbicides. And so now when I, so the show starts with a newspaper article, and like in today's newspaper, so here's a forest fire in Alberta. In today's Globe, here's the Amazon burning. And before that, well, here's the Marcia Letterman thing, and she's of course talking about Douglas Copeland, but there's lots of other artists. And then here's one, here's the Amazon on fire right here. And this is all happening all of a sudden. And normally, I mean, you think of the Globe Mail as a very conservative newspaper, but actually the Globe has been doing way more articles than the Toronto Star, for instance, or the London Free Press for that matter. But anyways, I just want to end by just saying that the come here, baby. So for me, I mean, it's like I relate the industrial age to the age of colonialism, and I put the two of them together because that's what they really are. The industrial age, like starting around 1800, and then the whole massive migration of Europeans to other parts of the world, colonizing. And it's only now that it's starting to come to an end, where we have like the Truth and Reconciliation happening. We have land acknowledgements, despite the problems associated with land acknowledgements. But all this stuff, Monsanto, which is like the most, like I've critiqued Monsanto for 40 years now, but Monsanto is now owned by Bayer out of Switzerland. And Bayer is now having to deal with all these lawsuits that are coming against Monsanto because their chemical glyphosate causes cancer. And not just causes cancer, but kills pollinators. So it's all revolving around, like this tornado here, it's a big giant mess that's spiraling away, thank goodness, I think. And the artists that are in the show are part of that ending of this era of industrial colonialism. So thanks for being a part of it.
Thanks very much, Ron. Given us a lot to think about too, in the context of the exhibition. I wanted to introduce the artists because sometimes we don't see them, and several have come from Toronto and Waterloo. So Sandy Collins, where's Sandy? Yeah, over here. Windsor, sorry. Drew Elwood.
Right here.
Two.
Transplant from Windsor.
Elizabeth Forrest, Waterloo. Brenda Furman, Phyllis Gordon, Toronto. Laurie Jensen Brazier, London. Gosha Martinia, over there, London. Andrew Moore, London. Eric Mummery, London. Agustine Rolando Roja, Toronto. Where is he? Oh, there. And Anne Unger, not here. So I'd love to give everybody a round of applause. Yeah, thank you very much for making it out here to London. And in closing, I just want to warmly thank Ron Benner for curating the exhibition and doing such a wonderful job installing it as well. I think it's beautifully presented. And yeah, we really enjoyed having you with us and bringing your stature to our organization. Thank you. I'd also like to thank our exhibition sponsors, Museum London, Brian Meehan in particular, have been supporting Print London every year and allowing us to have this annual exhibition. Satellite Project Space for allowing us to show here, and Fanshawe College Fine Art, which also offers support. Very importantly, I'd like to thank our volunteers for always helping us tremendously, sitting in the gallery every day, not an easy job, or one that people like. And lastly, I want to thank the members of Print London Steering Committee, Cindy Talbot, Laurie Jensen Brazier, Eric Mummery, Jen Hamilton, and Paulina Chesney. In particular, I want to make special thank you to our Vice Chair, Cindy Talbot. Cindy was responsible for organizing the exhibition this year, and I think she's done a stellar job of that. Thank you.
Cindy.